Hi all, this is Simona Rich, and in this video I will again read out some of the quotes from the book I Am That by Nisargadatta Maharaj. For some reason the screen just went really dark, but I can see that it's recording. Let's see where I left the last time. From here. About child consciousness. Take the case of a young child. The sense of I am is not yet formed. The personality is rudimentary. The obstacles to self-knowledge are few, but the power and the clarity of awareness, its width and depth are lacking. In the course of years, awareness will grow stronger, but also the latent personality will emerge and obscure and complicate. Just as the harder the wood, the hotter the flame, so the stronger the personality, the brighter the light generated from its destruction. So this is very important to understand, because some New Age people, unfortunately, when they have children, they think that, now it's again, noise is coming. I hope you will not hear it too much, but I think you will. So that's very important to understand, because some New Age parents think that children are their gurus, and they don't teach children anything at all, because they think that children are kind of enlightened already, but it's not true. It's just their personality is not yet hasn't yet emerged, hasn't yet developed, but the self-awareness is lacking, and this is the main component. This is what you really have to have in order to get liberated. Question: if there is no such thing as the knowledge of the real, then how do I reach it? Answer: you need not reach out for what is already within you. Your very reaching out makes you miss it. Give up the idea that you have not found it, and just let it come into the focus of direct perception here and now, by removing all that is of the mind. So we don't have to go in search for enlightenment. Like Nisargadatta Maharaj says, we have what we are looking for, but it's just some things are obstructing it. The mind, its contents are such, they feel so, they're so obvious that they obstruct our true being. So if we just identify from that, and we know that everything that is perceived cannot be us, then eventually we will get in touch with our true nature. To know that you are a prisoner of your mind, that you live in an imaginary world of your own creation, is the dawn of wisdom. To want nothing of it, to be ready to abandon it entirely, is earnestness. Only such earnestness, born of true despair, will make you trust me. And that's, for example, that reminds me of Eckhart Tolle. The way that he broke through is that he was totally disappointed in the world. He wanted nothing of it, and in that despair, eventually transformation happened. So here Nisargadatta Maharaj says that even if you still are attached to even something small of this world, you will not be able to reach enlightenment. Only when you really understand the nature of this world, that everything is illusory, you will be able to lose interest in all of it, and only then can you gain the ultimate. Instead of struggling with a person to make it become what it's not, why not go beyond the waking state and leave the personal life altogether? It does not mean the extinction of person, it only means seeing it in the right perspective. So you cannot, because many people think that they can achieve enlightenment without leaving the person. They still think themselves to be people, but that's the main reason why we are lost, because we are identified with the bodies. So Nisargadatta Maharaj says to leave the personal altogether, to detach from that, to detach from our bodies, from the minds, because that's how we shift the focus into that eventually, which is unchanging. You are bent on knowledge. I am not. I do not have that sense of insecurity that makes you crave to know. I am curious like a child is curious, but there is no anxiety to make me seek refuge in knowledge. Therefore, I am not concerned whether I shall be reborn or how long the world will last. These are questions born of fear, because the mind, the body, they want to be certain of things, so they're interested in these things. And also, I think it was Maharishi, Ramana Maharishi, that said that people who are intelligent, once they hear the message of enlightenment, they will not question how the world was created, how this happened, how everything is caused, because that's the mind wanting to continue. It will always ask questions. And also Maharaj said that the world is created when you become aware of it. There is no beginning or end to it. When you're aware of it, then it will be created. But if you search for reasons about how everything started, you will find something, because this world is it's of the nature of illusion, so it always creates something. So the mind itself will create the history, how everything started, and so forth. As long as you are interested in your present way of living, you will shirk from the final leap into the unknown. So that's very similar to what I already discussed, that as long as you're attached to anything of this world, you cannot have the ultimate. It was getting too loud, so I had to stop the recording. It's so crazy. It always happens. So I don't know where I left it. If you diligently investigate the knowable, it dissolves and only the unknowable remains. But with the first flicker of imagination and interest, the unknowable is obscured and the known comes to the forefront. So it's so subtle. You detach from everything. You investigate what's real, and then you understand it's illusory. You detach from it. You're not interested in that, and then you can get to know the real. But then as soon as again some thought occurs and you're interested in that, it obscures that which is truly real. The known, the changing is what you live with. The unchangeable is of no use to you. It's only when you are satiated with the changeable and long for the unchangeable that you are ready for the turning round and stepping into what can be described, when seen from the level of the mind, contentless and invariable. So when you lose totally interest in the world, in anything that is happening, only then can you really turn around to see that which is real. Watch yourself closely and you will see that whatever be the content of consciousness, the witnessing of it does not depend on the content. Probably it's awareness itself and doesn't change with the event. Take note of the peculiar nature of pure awareness. Its natural self-identity without the least trace of self-consciousness, and go to the root of it, and you will soon realize that awareness is your true nature, and nothing you may be aware of you can call your own. Happiness is never your own. It is where the I is not. This is a great quote. because even Eckhart Tolle, I remember, told that when you are the most in awe, when you are truly happy, then the I is not there. Like when you are captivated by the sunrise, you are just focused on the sunrise and you are not aware of yourself. The I is not there, and then there is that true joy. The mind needs a center to draw a circle. The circle may grow bigger, and with every increase there will be a change in the sense I am. A man who took himself in hand, a yogi, will draw a spiral, yet the center will remain, however vast the spiral. A day comes when the entire enterprise is seen as false and is given up. The central point is no more, and the universe becomes the center. How beautifully said. So yogis, people who explore different worlds, their experiences are exponentially greater, and there is so much more growth, yet it's in a world of illusion, so growth will be forever, because that's the nature of this world. You reach for more, you will gain more, and then it will never stop. So when this is realized, then this whole pursuit is dropped, and then there is no more central point. At present, you are moved by the pleasure-pain principle, which is the ego. You are going along with the ego. You are not figuring it. You are not fighting it. You are not even aware how totally you are swayed by personal considerations. A man should be always in revolt against himself, for the ego, like a crooked mirror, narrows down and distorts. It's the worst of all the tyrants. It dominates you absolutely. So when people don't investigate that, when they're not interested in mindfulness exercises, when they're not interested in growth, they don't even realize what a grip the mind has on them. Words and questions come from the mind and hold you there. To go beyond the mind, you must be silent and quiet. Peace and silence, silence and peace. This is the way beyond. Stop asking questions. So this is his experience. He would always encounter people who want to know this and that, and the questions are never ending. But the questions are still of this world. They don't take one beyond, except one. As he said, if you ask, who am I? That may take you beyond the world. Apart from that, if you keep being interested in how this world was created and so forth, and those questions will give birth to more questions, and this is never ending. It's just the trap of the mind. Question: the world disturbs me greatly. Answer: it is because you think yourself big enough to be affected by the world. It is not so. You are so small that nothing can pin you down. It's your mind that gets caught, not you. So true. It's the mind that gets desires, it wants something, it dislikes something, it catches you in the world, but you are not the mind. Know yourself as you are, a mere point in consciousness, dimensionless and timeless. You are alike the point of the pencil. By mere contact with you, the mind draws a picture of the world. You are single and simple. The picture is complex and extensive. Don't be misled by the picture. Remain aware of the tiny point which is everywhere in the picture. So it's so easy to get lost in this world, because the awareness, when the awareness is in touch with that which is not real, consciousness is born, and the whole world comes into being when we identify with the illusion. And it looks so real, so complex, it takes our whole attention, yet that's not what we really are. But in the gaps between thoughts and silence, we can understand our real being. You create the world in your imagination like a dream. As you cannot separate the dream from yourself, so you cannot have the outer world independent of yourself. You are independent, not the world. Don't be afraid of a world you yourself have created. Cease looking for happiness and reality in a dream, and you will wake up. You need not know all the why and how. There is no end to questions. Abandon all desires. Keep your mind silent, and you shall discover. So Maharaj always emphasized the importance of understanding that you are not in this world, that you created this whole experience, that in you is this body and in you in this world is this world. And when you really understand that, then you lose fear, because why would you need to be afraid of your own creation? And then you can have peaceful mind, which will help to transcend this world, to go beyond this world. Do you experience the three states of waking, dreaming and sleeping just as we do? Do you experience the three states of waking, dreaming and sleeping just as we do, or otherwise? Answer. All the three states are sleep to me. My waking state is beyond them. As I look at you, you all seem asleep, dreaming up worlds of your own. I am aware, for I imagine nothing. It's not samadhi, which is but a kind of sleep. So much valued by yogis, but actually if you are not conscious of what's happening, even if you are in that unconsciousness for a year, what use is it to you? It's just a state unaffected by the mind, free from the past and future. In your case, it's distorted by desire and fear, by memories and hopes. In mine, it is as it is, normal. To be a person is to be asleep. And it's so true that everyone is lost in their little private worlds. You can see, for example, some people, they talk themselves about the way that they look. Some people think that they look better than they are. Some people think that they look worse than they are. And then their actions are based on illusions. So, for example, if a person looks average but they think themselves to look amazing, they would try to talk to people that would not be interested in them, but they are led by illusion. So then the results show that they don't know who they are. They are not basing their actions on reality. And most people are like this. In some way, they would be not basing their actions on reality, whether it's to do with personal appearance, opinions about their intelligence level, and so forth. They just allow the mind to talk them into what it is, but that's not real. Until you can look at fear and accept it as the shadow of personal existence, as persons, we are bound to be afraid. Abandon all personal equations and you shall be free from fear. It's not difficult. Desirelessness comes on its own when desire is recognized as false. You need not struggle with desire. Ultimately, it's an urge to happiness, which is natural as long as there is sorrow. Only see that there is no happiness in what you desire. So when we detach from desires, when we no longer look for happiness in this world, then fears also disappear. When we no longer are greedy to acquire more, then there is nothing to be afraid of if we are not attached also to what you own. But if we take things of the world as real, then desires come and fears are there too. What you see as false dissolves. It's the very nature of illusion to dissolve on investigation. Investigate, that is all. You cannot destroy the false, for you are creating it all the time. Withdraw from it, ignore it, go beyond, and it will cease to be, rather than trying to stop it forcefully. Just don't pay attention to that which the awareness, the consciousness always creates. Just if you lose interest, that's all that's required. Yoga speaks of the desire for liberation as essential. Is it not the highest form of ambition? Answer: ambition is personal, liberation is from the personal. Ambition is personal, even the highest one. In liberation, both the subject and the object of ambition are no longer. Earnestness is not a yearning for the fruits of one's endeavors. It's an expression of the inner shift of interest away from the false, the unessential, the personal. So not desire, here he explains it's not the desire to be liberated, but just the loss of interest in the world that leads to liberation. Question: why are we not free here and now? Answer: but we are free here and now. It's only the mind that imagines bondage. Again, the importance of silencing the mind, of detaching from it to understand our real nature. And I guess this is the last question and answer that I will read out. What will put an end to imagination? What will put an end to imagination? Answer: why should you want to put an end to it? Once you know your mind and its miraculous powers and remove what poisoned it, the idea of a separate and isolated person, you just leave it alone to do its work among things for which it's well suited. To keep the mind in its own place and on its own work is the liberation of the mind. So the mind can keep imagining, that's not the problem, but our belief that we are the mind or that we are the body is what poisons our joy, because we can actually enjoy seeing the mind create and seeing this world, the illusory world, as our own creation. Then we can enjoy. And also Maharaj says that you can actually enjoy pain also and sorrow. There's something how he put it, there's something almost poetic and joyful about it, but as long as you don't think yourself to be the person. But when you think yourself to be the person, then everything suddenly looks so real, and then you're greatly disturbed by something negative that happens. But if you see the world as your own creation, then you're like watching a movie. You're also watching scenes that are sad and scenes that are happy, but you're enjoying the entertainment because you understand it's a movie. So with liberation, that's how the world starts looking totally illusory, like a movie. So that's the end of this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Take care.